Hi, my name is Vlada and I want to discuss some episodes from the book of Carlos Castaneda, which is called The Journey to Ixtlán. Probably you haven't heard of that author or you haven't read that particular book, so you might find some spoilers, I think, because I want to take the episode from the very end of the book. And if you haven't, well, I think that this is just a good chance for you to get familiar with it, get a new perspective on the whole world, because it is a very different book from the ordinary things people usually tend to read. Nevertheless, let's take, I think, 2 or 3 thoughts from this episode, and let's start from a little overview of the situation. So we have 3 main characters. First is Carlos Castaneda, the author of the book. Then we have Don Juan and also Don Genaro. All of them discussing Don Juan and Don Genaro they are discussing their experiences about meeting their allies. Don't worry about it, just let's proceed. And about their final destinations, because they say that every brujo or the sorcerer, they have their own destinations to their own places. However, then Don Genaro, he says that, actually, I am on my way to my final destination, to Ixtlán. However, I will never reach it. And Carlos, of course, he asked, how it is possible? Because, for example, if my final destination it is to go to Los Angeles, I can just simply buy a ticket and go there. And Don Genaro responds saying that yes, indeed, you can get there. However, here what matters is the process. I will mention some quotes from the book that I find particularly interesting, and I think that they are worth mentioning and discussing. First, he says that, Carlos in the book highlights the idea that everything that happens with us and just people we meet, these are just ephemeral beings, phantoms, and your feelings and eagerness are those of people. Here I think there are 2 things. First, that indeed speaking of the feelings and eagerness, it is very typical for people to have worries about some issues we have during our lifetime, or some emotions, for example, when we get very angry and the emotion takes control over our minds, and we just cannot usually change the perspective on the situation because the emotions have taken over us, and this is typical for us. Then the second thing, I think he mentioned that we as people have very lonely journeys, and here it just is in conjunction with the idea that I also recently had, and that caused me very much comfort. Not comfort, but on the contrary, disturbed me very much, that people you meet and all of the situations you face are just like phantoms. In other words, that people in the streets everywhere else are just like NPCs, simply some decorations in the background. To be very honest with you, I personally cannot comprehend how it is possible that people, all other people, have their own emotions, worries, problems, that they think about something. It just blows my mind, and it has been quite a long period of time that I have had this thought in my mind, and I still cannot realize that people, even my friends, that they do have some serious problems, because it is very difficult for me to differentiate my own world from the world of others, just the rest of the world. And I think that here Carlos just reaffirmed this thought, and I think that it just will take some more time to understand it completely. Nevertheless, the next quote goes, "Yet the feelings in a man do not die or change, and the sorcerer starts on his way back home, knowing that he will never reach it, knowing that no power on earth, not even his death, will deliver him to the place, the things, and the people he loved." Here I think that it goes again with the idea that we are very lonely. If we know already that all of the people around us are just phantoms, and I'm currently just talking to my phone, and my friends, my relatives, my beloved ones, they are just phantoms, just some, so to say, ideas or some energy that helps me realize myself better. Because through talking to them, interacting with them, some situations are created where I get the chance to raise the level of my own consciousness, so to say. And I think that it's just, on the one hand, very depressing, on the other hand, it's just some sort of relief. It is depressing because you realize that you will never get to know completely the other person. The other person probably won't have the same way for you in your life as you might think, because this is just some energy. Well, I think that just like I am just some energy. And about the second idea, that it is indeed a relief, it is because probably you don't have to pay so much attention, or not to worry too much about thinking that you are doing something wrong, because it is just you find yourself in the situation where all of the circumstances go in such a way so that you get to know yourself better. So probably just let that idea sink in your mind. And I think that I would love to discuss it with you in the comments. But I have the final quote that also goes in line with the idea of a very lonely journey. It says, "I saw the loneliness of man as a gigantic wave which had been frozen in front of me." And actually, to be honest, the whole episode, or what I was reading in the book, I was crying because I was just overwhelmed with emotions, with probably how directly it described all of the things that I had been thinking about, but they were too abstract, too far from each other to make it in one thought. And here he indeed says that a man is very lonely on his own journey, because you know that you will never reach it, because the day you reach it, probably you just will be lying to yourself that you did, because it is impossible to get there, because all of the whole lifetime, all the things that happen to you are the only things that matter, because through these things you get to know yourself. So I think that it is just impossible to comprehend, or just to even imagine the idea that it is possible to comprehend yourself completely, even for such people as brujos, como like Don Juan or Don Genaro, because they will, well, according to the particular moment in the book, they will die, but not even, as Don Juan said, or Don Genaro, that not even your death will help you reach your way, will help you reach home. So I hope that this mumbling helped you to get at least a new perspective on the world and the current events, and it will make you just to make at least a little shift in you. So see you in the next video. Bye.